You keep telling yourself you should be further by now. You've been trying to change your life, build something meaningful, and become the person capable of living the dream on your heart. But every time it feels like you're gaining momentum, you slow down, lose consistency, and somehow find yourself starting over again. Then you look at the lack of results and think, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just a failure. Bro, you're not incapable of leveling up. You may just be interrupting the process that would take you there. In this video, I'm going to show you why feeling behind makes you rush, why inconsistency keeps destroying your momentum, and why believing you're a failure makes every setback feel final. And by the end, I'll give you one simple commitment that can help you stop resetting your progress and finally let your work compound. So the first reason you're not leveling up is because you think you're behind. You created a timeline for when success was supposed to happen. You compare your current chapter to someone else's visible results. Feeling behind creates panic instead of productive urgency, bro. Panic makes you chase shortcuts, change directions, and overload yourself. You may not be behind. You may simply be unfinished. Stop measuring progress only by how far you still have to go. Don't count the price, bro. Let it take as long as it takes. But as long as you know you're giving it your all, you know you're trying, you know you're doing your best, you know you're overcoming the challenges that are presenting themselves, that's what fucking matters. You're still trying. You're still holding on to that dream. So start measuring whether you're becoming more capable and consistently moving forward instead. Ask yourself this: am I actually behind, or am I just not where I expected to be yet? You cannot build your future while constantly punishing yourself for not being there yet. And you also have to ask, where is this pressure coming from? Because a lot of times it's usually an authority figure. Maybe your parents think that you should be further ahead. Maybe it's the people around you, but they're putting their expectations on you. They're telling you how to live. How the fuck does that work? And it's funny because even people that have built their own stuff, their own business, it took them a long time, a lot of failures, a lot of trials and tribulations. And they think that you should do it in half the time, or they think they know what's best for you. Nobody knows what's best for you other than yourself. And that's why you have to trust your intuition. You have to trust the work that you've been given, the mission, the business that you want to build. You have to trust that with everything, because if you don't, somebody's going to tell you which route to go, and they're going to choose your life for you. I've seen it again and again. My sister went to college just to please my parents. Till this day, my parents still ask me if I regret not going to college. I say, fuck no. I'm an entrepreneur. This is what I came here to do. And I used to punish myself because I wasn't where I thought my parents wanted me to be. And I thought I was a loser. I thought I was a failure, all these things because of the timeline they put on me. And I was creating all this pressure for what? How can I trust my process when I'm trying to believe theirs? It ain't about them, bro. It's about you. And as long as you're doing what you got to do, and you're showing up and you're investing and you're getting the knowledge and what you need to move ahead in your dream, what else can you do, bro? You know, if you're doing everything you can. The second thing I want to go into is that you're not consistent with the work. Do you stop and start? Are you constantly counting yourself out or signing yourself off because you think you're not enough? You think you're not worthy. You failed in the past. I can't tell you how many failed launches I've had, bro. How many plans went to the shitter because I either had to learn more or it just wasn't time. You know, I stopped myself because I was getting momentum and then I stopped it. But if I would have stayed committed with, especially with the social media platforms, so there was a point where I was gaining traction on TikTok and I had a video blow up to like 250K views and I gained like 1,000 new followers and could have done so much more. But I didn't build the email list. I got the views. I didn't even get monetized for that, but I should have kept going. I eventually stopped posting on TikTok. I should have been consistent with collecting the emails through the lead magnets. There's a lot that I didn't do. And that's another thing. What could you have done better? Now, best believe I'm going to collect the email, right? Best believe I'm going to do things different because it's just a matter of time before these YouTube videos pop off. But I had to stay consistent with it. And then I blew up on, I was getting traction on Instagram. I stopped. I had a buddy of mine who blew up on TikTok and he gained 10 times the followers that I did, and he stopped. We just self-sabotage, bro. And sometimes we know better, sometimes we don't. But I'm telling you, if you're watching this, you have to stick with whatever platform, whatever you're doing, bro. stick with it probably forever, honestly. But I was told early on, just keep creating content for 6 months. See what happens, right? Because there's a level that you have to get with your craft. And I mean, I couldn't always speak like this, right? It took time, it took practice, it took the reps. But consistency is what's going to get you to success. Consistency is going to get you to level up hard. And if you're not consistent, you're gonna consistently, well, you're gonna be consistently in stopping and starting, right? But I need you to make a decision, choose a route, one platform or one mission, one purpose, and go all in on that. When I was a personal trainer, I went all in on that. I didn't care about anything else, bro. And what do you know? I made a good amount of progress with that for the year and a half that I was doing it. But it's hard to bounce two freaking basketballs at one time. So be consistent. Stay with it long enough so you can get a real result, so you can get what you actually want from it. And also be compassionate, but honest with yourself. Because wanting it deeply is not the same as working consistently. Occasional intensity doesn't create accumulated progress. Every time you disappear, change strategies, or wait for motivation, the work loses momentum. You have to stay in the game because it's gonna be a flat line for a long time, bro. But once you're done through that stage, boom, it's just gonna skyrocket. And sometimes we can use healing as interruption for our momentum, because I used to go to retreats and I don't regret the inner work that I did, but I wouldn't prepare for those retreats, meaning I wouldn't have content ready to be posted or scheduled out while I was there. So any freaking momentum that I had on YouTube, it would just drop. It would stop because I wasn't posting. So that's another way that I would tell myself, it's okay. I'll start again when I come back. But there were the top influencers that I was around. They were making content at the retreats. They were making pre-recorded videos. And I started to ask myself, why am I not doing that? Right? There's levels to this shit. So I'm telling you, man, sometimes we can go to retreats and go to events. And it's just another way to self-sabotage the momentum that we have and the practical shit that has to get done, because it is growth in a way, the healing, but there's two different types of growth. There's the business growth and there's internal growth, and you need both. But it's like you can't stop the momentum that you have because you got to go to a retreat, bro. Plan around it. Don't make excuses. And again, the healing was meaningful, but the channel couldn't grow while the practical work kept stopping. And a pace you cannot sustain eventually makes you quit. Choose a smaller standard you can maintain instead of an impressive pace you abandon. That's what I always tell my clients, bro. Make it so stupidly easy for you to follow through on, right? 5 minutes of meditating, 5-minute walk. For me, how I got myself to start reading again, because I love audiobooks, but it's just getting back into that. For me, it was been harder to get back into the habit of reading. And I used to love to read. So I'm like, you know what? Every morning I have my coffee. Set a timer for 5 minutes. I have the fucking book right there on the table in front of me, already waiting for me before I get up. Or sometimes if I forget, I'll be like, get the fucking book. And I go get the book, right? And I make it easy, 5 minutes. And I always end up reading at least 10, right? Again, choose a smaller standard. And remember, your next level is hidden inside of the work you keep deciding is too small to matter. The little things matter. It's always the small wins. Always the small wins that matter the most, bro. When you're losing weight, first win is just going to the gym. 30 minutes. When I was a trainer, all the small wins that I help my clients get always turned into more momentum, right? A small win is a YouTube video. A small win is creating a free lead magnet for your clients. A small win is maybe just increasing the frequency of how much you post a little bit. A small win is learning more about an algorithm or, your craft. As your niche changes, right? Like I used to when I was really into you can call it spiritual healing, I learned from the best, right? And I still have that knowledge. Now I'm more like motivational. And that's honestly my core energy. Like I love listening to Eric Thomas, Coach Payne, Tony Robbins. I love listening to them at the gym. And that's really my essence, right? Like where my authenticity comes from. And it's just a reflection of what I love to hear. And if you're ever confused about what to create content on or what's your purpose, bro, look at all the shit that you can listen to for hours. It's all right there. But yeah, I got a little off track, but the small things matter, bro. The last thing, you keep believing you're a failure. This has stopped me so much. I remember I created my whole truth process from this belief because I had to challenge it. I came back from the gym one time, and when you go to the gym, when you work out, you move energy. came back, I sat down, I just felt like shit. And I didn't understand why. And I just intuitively, instinctively felt to go get a pen and a note and a piece of paper. And I started writing. And the question that I asked, because the questions matter, was how do I feel at this point in my life? Because I wasn't where I wanted to be. I felt behind. I felt like a loser. I felt like a failure. And I wrote down all the stuff that I didn't like about where I was at. And I kept digging. I kept writing. I kept writing. And it went from, I believe I'm a fuck up, to, wow, I believe I'm a failure. And that was ingrained early on, from getting bad grades, from disappointing my parents, from not pleasing them, from not going the route that they wanted me to go. And it destroyed my self-confidence, my self-trust. And I had to rebuild that, you know? But because I didn't have the financial gain or the financial stability that my parents wanted me to have, I felt was a failure. And I realized, there's so much more to that. Like, the financial shit will come. It has come, but there's so much more than just the money aspect. There's the fulfillment. I knew I was growing when I didn't let my parents, more my mom than my dad, didn't let their voice affect me, because I had to make my own decisions, and I couldn't, if it was up to my dad, I'd be a bus driver right now. I couldn't go the route that they wanted for me. And I had to own that shit. And it was very empowering, but it took a long time. It took a long time for me to trust myself and my path, because I always had that voice of doubt from them. And it became my own voice of doubt. But that's the thing, bro. When I created that truth process, and I've walked so many clients through that, you find out that you're the opposite. Find out you're a winner. You find out your greatness, bro. You're powerful. You don't even know it. Find out the truth of who you are and all the positive ways that you can view yourself and all your positive features and characteristics. Because when you let that shit run the show, that's your best self. And you can become unstoppable when you let that version of you lead the way. But I had to process this. I had a breakdown that morning, right? Coming back from the gym, and you got to go into it, bro. You got to feel that, because if you keep avoiding it, it's just going to keep creating more self-sabotaging moments. And here's the thing too, bro. A video can underperform, an offer can fail, or a plan can fall apart without defining you. I used to be so attached to these launches, and sometimes nobody would sign up for a free workshop, and I would be like, "Oh, I knew it. Look, why am I even trying? This shit isn't for me. I've been doing it for X amount of time. Why am I still doing it?" And I would take it so personal, but it's not. If you put something out that your audience doesn't care about, that they don't want, they're not going to get it, right? If you keep trying to sell somebody pizza, but they're in the mood for cake, and sometimes you're trying to sell, even that, you have the cake, but you're trying to sell it to people who don't want cake. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful synchronistic alignment when you have cake and you find people that want cake and they buy. But you can't force that shit to people that don't want. These videos are not going to help somebody who doesn't want to change. They're not going to be looking for this. People who want to level up are going to be looking for this. People who want to fix it are going to be looking for these kinds of videos, like these personal development videos, because they're ready for it. So that's the thing, bro. Don't let the failures define you, because when you do, that's when you tend to give up. Not only on the dream, but on yourself. And when you believe you're a failure, every setback becomes confirmation. You're just validating the same negative story or limiting belief that you have about yourself. It's already there. That identity causes hesitation, half-hearted effort, and quitting before the work has time to succeed. You cannot define yourself by what goes wrong, bro. It's a lesson. Learn from it. Do it better next time. See why it failed or why it didn't work. And I always go by this one quote too: fail fast, which is really just learn fast. And if you have judgment on yourself, just replace it with these 3 questions, bro. What happened? What did it teach me? What is my next move? Have that shit on repeat. What happened? What did it teach me? What's my next move? You move on. But if you have emotion coming up, feel that, bro. Don't be afraid to, I'm not saying to just push that to the side. If you have anger, feel that. Why am I angry? Oh, it's because of this. Oh, I'm frustrated because of this. Go into it if you have to. Not all the time, but sometimes you do got to go into it. Treat failure as information and training, not a permanent identity. And anchor in this, bro. Just because the result failed, that doesn't mean that you became a failure. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bonus today. If you keep starting and stopping, this is for you. Understand this. Feeling behind makes you rush. Rushing creates an unsustainable plan. Consistency prevents results. Poor results reinforce the failure identity. Then you quit and you start over again. Starting something new feels productive, but it can become another form of evidence. Your energy is too scattered. You got to control the flow, bro. Stop telling yourself you must start over. Learn how to return quickly after a bad day or difficult week. Just come back, bro. Get back in the game. Missing once is an interruption. Disappearing turns it into a pattern. Don't give up just because it gets hard, just because shit doesn't go the way you thought it would. Last but not least, stop starting over. Start returning faster. Just continue where you dropped off. Now, bro, your next level is not hiding inside another dramatic restart. It's hidden inside the work you keep abandoning before it has time to compound. Feeling behind makes you rush. Rushing creates a pace you cannot sustain. Inconsistency blocks the result, and the lack of results convinces you that you're a failure. That's a cycle you need to break. Choose one area, choose one repeatable action, and stay with it for the next 30 days. If you miss, return within the next 24 hours. No shame, no completely new plan. Stop starting over, start returning faster. And if the belief that you're behind, incapable, or already a failure keeps causing you to abandon the work that matters, download my free audio training, Limitless, bro. It will help you identify the beliefs controlling your decisions and become the version of yourself who stays committed, stays on the path before the results arrive. The link is down below. Then go ahead and watch. If you're motivated, do this on your screen next. That video will help you take action before you feel ready. Create evidence that you can trust yourself. Build the momentum you need to keep going. Your next level begins when you stop turning every hard week into another new beginning. No matter what, do not give up on yourself.